You can just give me a thumbs up when it's ready. We'll call our meeting to order. Ashley, if you'll give us a roll call.
Michael Brown.
Here.
Randy Gilbert.
Here.
Phelan Hanning. Here. Ed Hillary.
Here.
Rob Seaman.
Here.
Looks like we have a quorum. Appreciate that, Ashley. If you guys will, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag to the left of the screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Join me in the Oklahoma flag salute. I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, thanks guys for being here. We've got a few comments that we'll go through, but the most important comment that I'll probably make today is it is Ashley's birthday.
Hey.
Happy birthday, Ashley. Birthday. She's also getting married this weekend. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the birthday.
Thank you.
All right. We've got a few things that I'll go over. If you have any questions, please make sure and ask those, but just a brief synopsis of some of the things, bigger things that have been going on right now, and then we'll have great presentations, so I won't talk about those. I'll let those individuals give their presentations. But first off, we had a very successful partnership event with OKACTE and Sky's team. I know she presented to you guys and told you about what we were going to do with the Legislative Roadshow. We end up having 17 at the beginning of our elected officials join us, along with some superintendents. Great event where we went through Central Tech and their programs, and then we went to Ripley and toured what their fax program was doing. They have a pretty innovative small school fax program. Then we went to Stillwater, actually, and saw what the ag program was doing, and they're going to talk about the highlights that came just after that. And then came here to the agency where we had Doug Major and his team from Meridian join us and talk about a business partnership that's very unique, that we're actually going to be moving on some legislation that hopefully will help that partnership continue. So we'll talk about that more as well as we get into a legislative intent and where we go. But a great day of those elected officials getting to see what the whole scope of the project that is CareerTech. The system is hard to understand and there's a lot to take in. So that was a great event. We also had the Organization of Rural Oklahoma Schools Conference, where I was one of their speakers, got to make sure that they understand how the system works for rural schools. Then soon after that, went to the trip to Wisconsin, where we saw a technical college and how they're operating, and then some technical pathway schools and how they're feeding that technical college. Try to learn if we could do some things better, as well as what are the things that we're already doing very, very well. So that was a really good trip. We took, I think, about 40 people from around the state. They're in technology centers in various positions to kind of get eyes on what's going on there and how we can do that. We also had some school administrators that were not technology centers, so that was a really good trip. Our staff also, at the same time, about 5 of them went to Kent School in Grand Rapids, which is a brand new, or I shouldn't say brand new, but it's really invigorated what they do in CTE education there. And the reason we wanted to go is they have exploded apprenticeships and what that means and how people can get into jobs but still get educational training. And so we wanted to learn from them and what they're doing and how those partnerships with business and industry are really taking hold. So 2 really good trips at the same time that we kind of divided up and conquered so we can implement some of the good things that are going on and know where we're at. So it was really good activities. Education roundtable events have been going on all across the state. I've been attending those in our different areas. Those are not technology center roundtables. Those are sending school, or comprehensive schools. So all our K-12s can take part in those. And I've been joining in as a speaker there to talk about what we're doing in CareerTech, but also how do we need to shift graduation requirements when we get into this legislative session, and how can we lead that as education people and make sure that we understand what's best for the student and for the business. And we're really working off a demand that the businesses have, and what will the demand be, and how can we get students into those pathways. So been a very good fall. The last month has been very good for getting out there and around. Any questions about those activities? All right, appreciate that. With that, we will go ahead and have a discussion and vote on the minutes of the October 19th, 23rd regular meeting. Is there,
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing no discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Ashley, will you call the roll?
Miss Hanning,
Abstain.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
I believe the motion cannot pass because we have an abstain and we have
Oh, shoot.
quorum. So, we could have reconsideration if you wanted to do that, or if you had question, would that be appropriate?
No, yes, I've looked
Okay.
through them.
So, if somebody, not a voting member, but if somebody would move for reconsideration, then we could reconsider.
Move for reconsideration. Second.
Okay. All those in, she'll call a roll call for the motion to reconsider, and then we will have the main motion again. So if you'll have that reconsideration.
Okay. Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert,
Yes.
Miss Hanning,
Yes.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman.
Yes.
So now we'll be back to the main motion at hand, which is the minutes. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. But because we only have 5 members here, and that is a quorum, we have to have a 5-person vote to pass.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can vote on the minutes even though you were not in attendance,
Yeah.
just making sure that you understand everything that's there.
Okay.
So is there any further discussion? Okay, if you'll call the roll.
Miss Hanning,
Yes.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Motion passes. Andrew, are you good with all that? Did I handle it okay? Yes. Been a while since I've done a reconsideration. All right, thank you guys. And now we have some great presentations. First up is from National FFA Convention. We had some great highlights, so we'll welcome Scott Nemechek as the manager of the Ag Ed division. And take it away, Scott.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm Scott Nemechek. I'm a program manager for the Ag Ed division here at CareerTech, and just want to give you a brief update of some housekeeping things before we get to the real stars of the show. And Mr. Aiken, I want to thank you for part of the speech demonstration. So, appreciate that this morning.
And you guys do have
You did well.
go along with this if you don't want to watch it on the screen.
Yeah, and I also have some handouts as well that I'll give you. So we'll start off. I'd just like to introduce you to our staff. Many of you know them, but I will go ahead and introduce you to our staff. That's my mug shot up there. Also, Rose Bonjour has been here a long time as a Central Area Program Specialist. Hannah Brown is new to our division this year. She's a former ag teacher and also was here in accreditation at the State Department. She's the Northeast Area Program Specialist. Alan Miller is the Northwest Area Program Specialist. That changed? Yeah, there we go. Clark Long is our Southeast Area Program Specialist, and he also is in charge of the Agri-Science Fair, which you will be seeing some of our students talking about shortly. Kurt Murray, the Southwest Area Program Specialist. Trevor Lucas, our State FFA Executive Secretary. Laura Howard, who will also be presenting, I think, as part of the United Way here in a little bit. And then Kathy Short, our 2 administrative assistants who help us out and do a great job. Just a brief overview for you. I'll try to go through these fairly quickly because several of you are familiar with that, but certainly be glad to answer any questions that you might have. This year we're up to 494 programs and 366 districts across the state. That's all K-12 programs, and that's, I think, a record high in terms of number of programs. And for our purposes, a program is a teacher. Many schools have multiple teachers. Over 28,000 students. We're in the process of totaling up this current year's membership. That was due yesterday, so we're still getting those totals in. Looks like it's going to be very similar to last year. And we operate on a 3-circle model of agricultural education. And those 3 circles are the classroom instruction, experiential learning, which we call supervised agricultural experience. It would also be classified as work-based learning, and then the FFA, which is the CTSO for our division, which you'll hear from those students again here shortly. In classroom instruction, just some of the big topics here that didn't click, did it? There we go. In classroom instruction, teacher recruitment and retention, as in every division and as in every school district, is a big topic that we're working on hard to do. And we have new teachers here in Stillwater today and tomorrow. I think about 50-something of those that are receiving training as new teachers and alternatively certified teachers. We are also working on programs to help those alternative certified teachers to reach certification. And so that's what's going on here today. In terms of SAE that's all right. In terms of supervised agricultural experience, so each student will have a supervised agricultural experience program where they gain experience outside of the classroom on an area of agriculture that they're interested in. And so those are foundational, where they do some exploring of different career paths or different topics. There's entrepreneurial, where they actually own a business. Many of that is farming or livestock, but we also have lots of folks who have agribusinesses such as lawns or other businesses like that. Placement, which is where they work at an agriculture-related business. You'll get to hear from a star in that area just shortly. And then also research, which you'll see shortly as well from some of these students. We use a program called the Agricultural Experience Tracker, which is much of our country uses that, in other states as well. And that is a program that is an accounting program, but it also accounts for skill development. It accounts for finances, as well as leadership activities and contests that those students have. And many of our application processes run through that program. Wayne, I don't know if I can click or if you can click one more. So in general, FFA had a record high membership last year of 29,213. That was our record numbers. It looks like we're going to be right at that number this year, very close to it, just give or take a couple hundred one way or the other. We're also the 7th largest nationwide last year. If you break it down per capita, I think we're number 1 or number 2 in terms of our state population versus the number of FFA members. One more, we have several support groups that support agricultural education. One of them is the Oklahoma FFA Alumni. That's a strong organization that's been around for a long time. Their biggest activity is our large leadership camp that we have each summer. We moved sites this year on that. It was very successful. There's about 1,600 students that attend that each summer. And that's one of those kind of starting points for students to really get started being involved in the CTSO part of Ag Ed. Financial support for events, the alumni does a great job in supporting that in cooperation with the FFA Foundation. We have over $10 million in assets with the FFA Foundation. A lot of that is invested in the Oklahoma City Community Foundation, and that money is used for student support and for support of our largest event, which is our State FFA Convention in April. We have lots of industry partners. We have some new title sponsors that are coming on. One interesting one is the University of Tulsa as a title sponsor. So they see the value in our students as well as many other industry partners. Lots of individual sponsorship that's raised each year as well. And that goes for those convention support awards, grants, and scholarship. So now we'll get into kind of the fun part, I guess, of the program and recognizing our students and our chapters that have done an outstanding job this year and were recognized at the National FFA Convention. Actually, this would be for work that they would have done in the last school year. Those applications are processed in late spring and throughout the summer and fall to get to our national winners. And just real quickly, Karsten is up there. Karsten Cantrell, who was a former member of the SkyTook FFA, who was a state officer here for us a couple of years ago. As a student at Oklahoma State University, she just completed her term of service as a national FFA officer, and she was Oklahoma's 23rd national FFA officer, which puts us very close to the top of the number of national officers, and she did an outstanding job there. I haven't seen her. I don't think she's quite back yet. They do some debriefing after convention, but we're looking forward to having her back here in Oklahoma. For our National FFA Convention recognition, I will pass these out to you guys, and you can kind of follow along if you would like.
Thank you.
So we had an outstanding year, as always, at the National FFA Convention. Many of our students and chapters represented in Oklahoma. And just, that first slide there, Blaine, if you'll advance that. There were, and that is part of this is not on that. Those are the final results, but we had 20 Proficiency Award finalists. So in each of the 45 areas of Proficiency Awards, which is dialed down to a certain part of their SAE. And so we had 20 national finalists, 4 national finalists in each area. So we were tied, I think, for the #1 state in terms of Proficiency Award finalists. 4 of those were national winners. We're very proud of those, and they're listed on page 2 of your handout there. We also had 28 Agri-Science Fair finalists. We were the #3 state in that, and we had 4 national winners, and you'll get to hear from 2 of them here just shortly from Stillwater. All 28 of those, or excuse me, I think 20 of those were actually recognized on stage at national conventions, placing regardless of that. And I think Stillwater, Mr. Nipper, I think, did you guys have all of yours were in the top 5?
All 15 are gold.
Yeah, so in all of the contests and areas, they have gold emblem, silver and bronze emblem. So all 15 of Stillwater's finalists were gold emblem and were recognized on stage, as well as many other chapters that participated. We had 5 national 3-star premier chapter finalists, which was tied for the #1 state. So premier chapter is, we have program of activities where there is building communities, growing leaders, and strengthening agriculture are the 3 areas of that. So they are selected based on an activity they had in their local chapter, and then they compete for that. And so with that, we had several winners. Actually, Stillwater, again, our big winner this year, was a national premier chapter in building communities, and Bartlesville was a national premier chapter in growing leaders for their activities. We had a star winner this year, and for those of you that aren't familiar with that, the American FFA degree is the highest degree that a student can achieve, and it's based on their participation in FFA, but mostly it's based upon their SAE experience and the dollars that they are earning through that, along with the skills they're developing to prepare them for further career advancement. So there are 4 areas: Star Farmer, Star in Agricultural Placement, Star in Agri-Science, and Star in Agribusiness. And so we had a national finalist, Whitney Glazier, who we'll talk to here just shortly. And she was actually the American Star, so one of 4 stars nationwide that was recognized. And that's a big deal in the FFA world, and we're very proud of Whitney. I'm extremely proud also, so she happens to be my great niece as well. So a little extra pride going in there. So we'll introduce her shortly. 2 national champion CDE teams, our career development events. Livestock judging is for the 2nd year in a row. A chapter from Oklahoma won that, and that was Guthrie. And then also the poultry evaluation, which is a very intense contest, lots of areas of poultry. And that was Westville FFA was the national winner in that. So with that said, I would like to, we're going to see a short video of Whitney, and then we'll let her tell you about her successes. So Whitney Glazier, she is currently a student here at Oklahoma State University, and you'll hear from her a little bit, but she is the American Star in Agricultural Placement. So Blaine, if you want to play.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Gilbert.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Just to put it in perspective for us to have the national champions, how many FFA members are there nationally?
Over 800,000.
Right. Wow. Somewhere over 900,000.
Yeah.
What I think I saw on the last deal. So for us to have national champions with over 800,
Right.
900,000 nationally is a pretty big step. So congratulations to all of them. So.
And in terms of Whitney, the American degree, the American Stars come from the American degree list, and there's over 3,000 of those each year. So it's a very distinguished honor, and one that she can be very proud of as we are. So Blaine, if you'll play that video.
Hi, I'm Whitney Glazier, a member of the Omega FFA chapter in Omega, Oklahoma. And I'm an American Star finalist in agriculture placement. My SAE in ag placement consists of working on the family farm, and in grain production we do seed wheat, and in the forage production I worked with the swather, baler, and rake. I ran all of those pieces of equipment. And our family operation also consists of a beef cattle herd, so I also worked in that part of the deal. And then I went and I worked for a veterinary clinic in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, where it was a mixed animal clinic, so I did both small and large animal. And then currently I work at the Agronomy Research Station at Oklahoma State University, where we do research on both soybeans and sorghum. One of the greatest challenges that for me is I'm physically not very big in size. So especially on the family farm with all the large machinery and combines and tractors, my family members, my uncles, grandparents, they were worried about me being able to handle myself with large machinery. So having to prove that I knew how to run the machinery and could do it safely and efficiently allowed them to believe that, hey, I could do this. And my dad was a big part of that. He was always the first one to teach me something new or teach me how to run a new piece of equipment. And he also helped and say whenever we had something new to do, he would say like, hey, Whitney can go do that because she knows how to do that. And my responsibilities just kind of blossomed from there. And just knowing that not giving up and hard work truly does pay off. My family has definitely been a big supporter and big help through my SAE projects. Being from a 5th generation family farming operation, it's in our blood and it's just something that it was ingrained from the time you could walk and you could see going riding around the buddy seat of the tractor with cousins and uncles and my dad and grandparents. It just showed that this is something I wanted to be a part of and something that it was a passion to get involved in and be able to do. So I've had multiple ag advisors throughout my FFA career, and I believe that they each one have had a different impact and a meaningful impact in shaping and making my FFA experience and my SAE the way that it turned out to be. They all played a different integral role in like advising me and, hey, let's maybe try this, or I don't know if this will work, but maybe here's this that would work better. And they just showed that having the support from your school and from your FFA chapter just goes a really long way. One of the greatest things that I've learned throughout my SAE experiences would have to be to never stop learning. To me, the FFA is family. Especially within your home chapter and within your state association, you build so many memories and connections and friendships that would last a lifetime, and they're invaluable in not just your FFA experience, but in the overall grand scheme of life as well.
So at this point, Whitney, if you'll come up and
Hi,
just,
I'm
share a little bit more with them, and then you guys can certainly ask Whitney any questions that you would like to do.
Hi everyone, obviously I'm Whitney Glazier. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done, is to have somebody follow me around and get to video and kind of show a day in the life of just every little part of my SAE, so that was really cool. I mean, my SAE, it's different than most people. It's like placement SAEs or just SAEs in general, because for my placement one, it was 3 different sections, like working on the family farm, working at a vet clinic, and working at the agronomy station up here in OSU. I still continued to do the family farm. It was just one that was natural and just made sense to keep continuing doing. I want to go to vet school and become a large animal veterinarian, so I decided, hey, after graduating from high school, that I decided I was going to go work at a vet clinic and learned both sides of large animal and small animal, and it was also cool to see the other side of veterinary medicine instead of being the patient with the animals that are being taken care of. And working here at the agronomy research station just kind of allowed me to keep going to college, while also like being able to work part-time to pay for going to college. So it kind of all fell into place and worked out probably as best as it probably could have.
Awesome. You guys have questions for Whitney? Whitney, I would ask one question. What do you think are the most valuable skills that you've gained through the FFA? What's going to help you in your college career and then later on?
Probably some of the most invaluable skills are definitely like general, like hard work, responsibility, and like dedication, but just like paying attention to details. And if you don't know something, ask questions, because it's not going to make you look dumb, or like you're not going to look like you don't know what you're doing if you're asking questions. It'll actually respect you and like offer you to give more chances if you do ask questions, because they know like, hey, if you don't know what you're doing, asking questions is a building block to learning and just developing your knowledge and skill set.
Awesome. Well, first off, congratulations. Huge honor. Thank you so much for what you've done. What questions would you all have for Whitney?
Congratulations on your accomplishments and your honor, and thanks for bringing that to Oklahoma.
Thank you. It was definitely, it still is so very surreal that like it's happened, and it's just I keep looking back on the videos because a friend of mine videoed it going on to convention, and so I have it to be able to like look back at it. I'm like, did that seriously still happen? So it's just so crazily surreal.
So what are you doing right now? What does your like day to day look like between the work that you're doing and the school that you're doing? What is that like for you now?
So currently, I work at the OSU Research Station part time, like in between going to classes and stuff, because I'm a full time student at OSU. So it kind of is just a really good work balance because working for the school and working with the mentors and people that I work with, it's you come to work when you are able to come to work, and you can work when you need to, and you have the ability to like. It's really flexible to do. Say you have like an exam or something come up, you can be like, hey, I don't think I'll be in today. I need to study for this. I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine. And then you can come in later once you get done with it. So it's very flexible, and it's just been an awesome experience to be able to have that flexibility to go to convention where I was gone for 4 days. And like, yeah, absolutely. And every single one of them were behind me and were like, we're rooting for you and we're hoping for you and everything. So it's really awesome.
Awesome. Whitney, thank you so much. We're very proud of you.
Thank you guys.
Well, as we move forward, we have some representatives from Stillwater, and they had probably a record convention, I think, of any chapter anywhere has ever had, with the number of awards and recognition, and certainly that doesn't happen by accident. They do a great job working hard in preparation for that, and so we'd like to recognize them here. Just real briefly, I would call first, they were the National Model of Excellence winner, which in layman's terms, that is the outstanding chapter in the nation. The outstanding overall chapter in the nation. And so at this time, Ryan Crosswaite, Kiriana Beard, and Trinity Blosh, I believe, are going to share a little bit about that success and what that means for them and what happened to get them to that point.
Thank you, Mr. Nemechek. As he mentioned, my name is Ryan Crosswaite, and my teammates Trinity Blosh and Kiriana Beard. We had the opportunity to present what our chapter had done not this year, but the past year, as our application was actually due this past June. It's a very rigorous process. To start, you have to fill out your national chapter application. Every chapter in the country is able to fill these out. In Oklahoma, we do these every other year, actually, while some states do it every. In order to be selected to even get to where we were, you have to be named a 3-star chapter. And so there's 1, 2, and 3-star chapters. 3-star chapters being the highest ranking that an FFA chapter can receive. Lots of chapters are able to receive the 3-star chapter based on their activities that they had done the past year. The top 10% from the state, so 36 chapters from Oklahoma, are able to be sent to the national level to be considered for the star levels, the 1, 2, or 3-star. Once you make it into the top 3, as you're in the top 3-star, they then take the top 10 scoring chapters from across the country to be able to present over a Zoom call, which we actually did at our agriculture education facility. And we were able to present a presentation about the 15 different activities that were on our program of activities. The top 3 are then selected to present at the National FFA Convention on one of the convention stages where we presented and we talked about all the different things that we did. It was a 15-minute presentation with 10 minutes worth of questions where we presented the top 9 actually activities that we had done. So we were able to present those to a panel of judges from across the country, and we were blessed to be selected as the top chapter out of almost 9,200 chapters nationwide. Wow. So that was just the process of getting there.
Yeah.
What questions do you guys have for the
Tell us about some of the projects. You said 9 projects you presented? Yeah.
3 that each of us talked about in the presentation.
You go first.
Okay, so the first one I think was in the growing leaders category. For mine was the Ag Career Bingo, where we had different career professionals, a lot of them from Oklahoma State, and then we had some trappers who come from the USDA department, yes, and the students, all of our students at our ag building, they had a bingo card, and they would go to each station, and all the career professionals met the 9 career pathways for this project, and once they would talk to the career professional, learn more about the careers that they could once go into after high school, they would mark their card, and the goal was to have all the boxes marked. So that was our Ag Career Bingo. The next one was the building communities, and that would have been our planning our dollars locally idea. If any of you guys live in Stillwater, you might go to local businesses like Mexico Joe's and you might see their planter boxes out front, and it's shop local, shop Stillwater, shop Mexico Joe's. Those businesses actually bought into Stillwater. FFA bought these boxes, and then our students over a 2-week period in May went out to these businesses and shopped, and our goal was to have more attention to these businesses, so our students would pay, buy whatever, buy a meal, buy any gift from any stores that bought into this, and they donated 2 $25 gift cards to our chapter. And then once our students shopped over those 2-week periods, we would draw gift card prizes for those students. And then the last one was the Planting the Seed of Agriculture, which was under the Strengthening Agriculture Division. And this was strictly in the elementary schools where we had grow carts, and the students learned how to grow lettuce from a grow cart, which was really cool for them to see that. And it was very engaging for those younger students to have a hands-on activity in agriculture, which many of them might not have ever seen before. So those were my 3.
Yes, and then the 3 that I presented, one of the first ones, which I hold near and dear to my heart, is the Making Your Words Count initiative. This is actually the activity I planned out for our program of activities. And basically, you're pay $1 to send a word to a friend, a classmate, a teacher, and that builds them up, that encourages them. And so that was one that I planned out, and it was, you know, being able to see it start from just a thought in my brain to now it's being announced and showed to all these people is just insane to me. Another one that I also kind of took part in was the Cans for Community 5K race. This year it was called the Costumes for Cans Fun Run, as it was a costume contest. This is an activity that has been a part of the Stillwater FFA chapter for the past 6 years. We've just, you know, seen, oh, this doesn't work here, let's try a costume contest, or we're going to change to you can bring more than 20 cans. And that's the thing that we're trying to do with this, is raise those cans that are then donated to the Salvation Army for communities that are below the poverty line in Stillwater. And so that's something that we have done in the chapter for this many years, and so being able to present that was also really cool. The final one that I presented was the Fired Up for Safety activity. So our chapter president last year is a daughter of 2 firefighters, and so she brought in the local fire chapter to teach about fire safety. And so our students passed through 6 safety stations, they signed a fire safety pledge, and so they were able to have these fun activities like having a relay race in firefighting gear, but you also learn about this fire safety. And so it was not only fun, but also innovative for our students to understand fire safety.
Yeah, so my first activity that I talked about was in our Building Communities Division, where we actually hosted an empowerment conference. So this is a leadership conference, but we kind of took a twist on it. Lots of times you go to these leadership conferences and they ask you, what are you bad at and how can we fix it or get rid of it? But instead, our empowerment conference asked members, what are you good at and how do we get better at it, and how do we utilize this to make you a better leader in your community? So we actually finished our annual conference yesterday at the Payne County Expo Center, and we're able to bring in members from the different chapters within our county, Cushing, Yale, Glencoe, Ripley, but we also brought in chapters from the Thomas Fay Custer chapter, brought students, as well as the Oologah FFA chapter brought in students. So we're able to split into small groups. It's a very smaller version of our FFA State Alumni Camp, where it's a 1-day, but we're able to split in and we're able to serve as small group leaders to these members that show up. How can we make what you're good at, and how do we utilize it to make it better? I'm trying to think. My second activity was our $5 challenge, and this was our activity that was actually awarded for the premier chapter, which it fell under the Building Communities. So our $5 challenge, our freshman members, all of our 9th grade members, receive one $5 bill, and they're asked to go into the community and make a difference in some way or another. And we don't tell these students anything besides that. The only rules is you can only spend the $5 given, and you can spend no additional money. You're allowed to combine with other members of the freshman class that are doing this project, up to 4 people. So we saw members use their $5 in advertisement. A student raised over $500 for the Tiny Paws kit and rescue here in Stillwater. We had another student who went to the local Goodwill and bought a pantsuit for a lady at the Wings of Hope, so she was able to have nice clothes to be able to go back and get a job within our community. So these are just a few of the highlighted things that our members were able to do with the $5. And then the final activity was
The fourth grade day.
the fourth grade Ag Day.
Yes.
Golly, it's been a while. So our fourth grade Ag Day, and we bring in, we have 6 local elementary schools here in Stillwater. We bring in almost 500 students from fourth grade classes from across the district, and we're able to bus these students, or Highland Park, which is actually just a few hundred yards away from our Ag building. We're able to have these students walk. But we bring these students into our Ag facility, and we talk about different agricultural practices, which sometimes the public can question. We talk about giving shots, as well as farmers are kind. When talking about like benefits of using bee smoke was one of them that we highlighted. Bee smoke looks bad on the outside, but in reality, you're keeping not only the beekeeper safe, but as well as the bees. So these are just a few of the activities that we presented, 9 of our 15 that were able to be presented. But like Trinity and Kiriana both mentioned, these were things that we had to change over time to get to where we are. We changed different aspects. How can we better this? How can we do it to better our community? So these were just a few of the activities.
Thank you. That's great.
Great. Any other questions for the group?
Very good.
What are y'all's plans going forward?
Congratulations.
Really, the only plan that we have right now is stop. As you can see on the paper, we are a very successful chapter, but that takes a lot of time and effort to be put in behind the scenes. I know with my agri-science project, it was constantly saying this script over, and on the way over, I was talking about how I'm going to be 80 years old and say this speech because just said it that many times. And I know that most of these activities that are on that is stuff we've already done. Ryan mentioned that we just had our leadership conference yesterday. The 4th grade Ag Day we had last week. And so even if we do have this great honor, we're not going to change. And we want to show people that this is who we are authentically, which was our theme yesterday. But we're not going to change because we have this great honor. We're just going to continue that legacy of showcasing what our members are doing. And so, put in that extra work, put in the extra hour of memorizing your speech. Just not stopping is really our main goal.
I think it's also important to realize that this Models of Excellence winning was all of last year's activities. So we won this last year's activities. So we won from last year's activities, but I think it's important to realize that that is last year. So if we don't make this year just as good, what did we truly do? I mean, 1 year's success isn't anything if you don't continue it as a tradition. It doesn't stop there. So I think continuing that is really important.
And based on the rubric, some of the biggest points you can get is how active are your members in actually doing this? Lots of chapters, their 6 or 9 FFA officers will be pushing that, and they're the ones leading the initiative, while you see in our chapter that our 9 chapter officers are the ones that are heading up these, but without the members, we really can't get anywhere. This year alone, we have a few members that are doing things such as one of our students, Adria, who is actually putting up different questions and facts into classrooms about different agriculture practices and just agriculture facts, and so that we're able to have students in our school learn about different agriculture practices. So this is something that's very member driven.
Great.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
We will keep Kiriana and Tracy up here, and we'll also ask Aubrey McIndoe to come up. And these are 2 of Stillwater's 4 agri-science career winners on the national level, and they'll tell you a little bit more about that. That's an activity that we have here that has dramatically grown over the past 10 years or so. In Oklahoma, we had, I think, over 160 research projects presented last spring, and these are the cream of the crop in that. So I'll let Aubrey and Trinity start on theirs.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today and being able to listen to our awesome project. So my name is Aubrey McIndoe. I'm currently serving as Stillwater's president. This is my partner, Trinity Blash, which you just heard from. But we've been partners for the last 2 years, and so this project this year was kind of special because right now our economy is pretty crazy. Buying eggs is nuts. Buying gas is crazy. So really asking consumers, oh, thank you.
We want our online viewers to be able to hear
Oh,
it as well.
sorry. So we wanted to ask consumers this year how much they're truly being affected by inflation, and if they're willing to spend a couple more dollars on kind of the asterisk healthier items like GMOs, gluten-free, organic, and then what was the other one? I think that was kind of the most important ones that you usually see in a grocery store, and asking them if they're really willing to spend, like I said, $3 or $4 more dollars. And when we got really down to the heart of the problem, people are not willing to spend more in your traditional stores. So like in Walmart and Aldi, things like that. And then your specialty stores would be like your Sprouts, Whole Foods. And when people who shop there are typically not affected, they kind of just put in the inflation part of their budget, while people in the, sorry. No, you're good. Is that good? Okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I think-
I'm sorry. People in the traditional stores are more affected by inflation. So that was kind of the little synopsis of our kind of our study. But do you have anything else to add?
So some of the skills that we kind of learned with this is actually my third project, and this is me and Aubrey's second. We're already planning our third one. It's already in the works. But some of the skills we learned learned how to use different methodology of collecting our data, and then running statistics. I'm not sure how many high schoolers know what a t-test is and how to analyze that. But that's something that we've learned. And then also one important thing of this study is that it's directly going back to the consumers. There's a need for this. We're seeing more of these labels pop up, especially in these traditional stores. However, if you look at our data, they're not willing to spend it. And we can see that in food production, there's millions of dollars of food waste because these consumers aren't willing to pay for these things. And so if we are really saying anything with this is that if you're a traditional store, instead of having these a lot of these different labels, bring them back, have less of those options, because we can have those consumers and those agricultural producers. It takes time, and it takes these agricultural or organic produce, it takes longer, and you have less of a yield, so it's costing more for these producers. And so in all, you're losing money in this already crazy economy. And so that's something that I really enjoyed about this, is that it had a real tie to agriculture and to our economy. And so we're very proud to be able to have this honor of being a national champion. We're the first to be back-to-back national champions. And then I'm the first in Oklahoma to win 3. So that's just insane. But yes, like I said earlier, we're not stopping. We already have our next one planned out. Nothing like this, no food anymore. But yeah, that's just a little bit about us, about what we've done, and just how proud we are of what we've done and the rest of our chapter, because that's something that we're really proud of. So
Awesome.
I'm glad I don't mess the microphone up. So, good morning. My name is Kiriana Beard, and my background in the performance equine industry really led me to my questions about equine fitness and what I can do better as a horse owner to really have better performance. So, I took a sample size of 12 horses, 6 who were exercised consistently 5 days per week, and 6 who were never exercised. So a very clear difference, and this had to be met for 3 months minimum. These horses had to be exercised or not exercised. They also were under like the same lifestyle conditions, so all of my variables were kept the same in that regard. And I put them through a 25-minute exercise test, 15 minutes of a warm-up going between walking and trotting, which is the gaits of the horse, if those words sound maybe a little bit unfamiliar. The next 5 minutes was a trot and canter intervals. And then lastly, the 5 minutes, which the horses that never exercised did slightly struggle with, was the 5 minutes of a fast canter. So between each of these exercise sets, the 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and the last 5 minutes of hard canter, they had a blood draw test. And so I took a baseline blood draw test. Before any exercise was conducted, I wanted to see what their baseline was at. And then I took it after the 15 minutes and then after the both 5-minute tests. And finally, after 10 minutes of exercise, I took their final blood lactate test.
And I was able to find that horses that were never exercised showed a much higher blood lactate level, and then they stayed there. They didn't quite go down near as fast, which is pretty dangerous, as that means they were in anaerobic metabolism too long, and we truly don't want them reaching that point. And if they do reach that point, we definitely don't want them to stay there, because it's not beneficial for their bodies at all. So I was really able to find that this research really helps me and my horses, because I take better regards in exercising them and having them better prepared for competitions. So that's what I love about my research, is how it's able to help me and other horse owners as well.
It pertains to people too.
Yes.
Fantastic. You guys have questions for these FFA members? Great. Thank you so much. Great presentations. Congratulations.
Well, just again, thanks for letting us be here. I think you've been able to see just a glimpse of the knowledge and skills that our students are developing through their ag programs throughout the state, and we do appreciate that. I would like to introduce Tanner Nipper back here. He's one of the Stillwater ag teachers who here with us this morning, along with Robbie Branscombe and Bailey Cleaver, who also teach at Stillwater. All three of them do a great job, and we appreciate their successes. And for the students that were here today, thank you for being here. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Tanner.
Any other questions from me? All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward, item 2.02 on the agenda is presentation over the United Way fundraising activities and possible discussion. Russell Ray, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. It's great to see everybody here in Stillwater today. I'm going to talk a little bit about our United Way campaign, a great cause. We had a lot of fun. Our director, our very own director, Haken, won our mini golf contest. He won it in a tiebreaker against Jordan Duck, who's here with us today. If we want a rematch, we could do it after the board meeting.
I think we're good. I think we're good.
I've got my putter. The other big highlight of the United Way campaign was the Ice Bucket Challenge. Brent Haken versus our Chief of Staff, Justin Lockwood. Person who raised the most money got a nice cold bath. And we have some splendid video of that we're going to show you here in a second. So let me start off with our mission statement. Our mission statement is to prepare Oklahomans to succeed in the workplace, in education, and in life. And I think if you really think about it, what that means is that we're here to change people's lives. And so it only makes sense that for the last 40 years or so, we've aligned ourselves very closely with the United Way of Payne County. Our missions are very, very similar. The United Way helps organizations that help people. That's what we're doing here at Oklahoma CareerTech. The money that goes to United Way is used to provide people access to programs that promote a happier and healthier life. And again, that's something that we're here to do as well. United Way helps people with education, financial stability. It helps people with disabilities. It helps people who need shelter and food. It helps people who need protection from abuse. It's something that we're very proud of participating in every year, and so every year we hold a United Way campaign that lasts about 2 weeks, and we recruit a committee of volunteers who work very hard every year. It takes a lot of work to plan and prepare for all of these events. In addition to meeting their regular work deadlines, they need to meet the deadlines for United Way as well. And we have, the committee is here with us today. I'd like to ask our members of our committee to please stand to be recognized for all their efforts this year. Thank you. So we had some of the traditional events, the chili dessert cook-off, a live auction, a silent auction, mini golf, of course, a scavenger hunt, bingo. We had the Minute to Win It games that Jordan organized, and we had the Ice Bucket Challenge, of course, that Denise Bethke organized as well. And this year's campaign was a big success. People are paying more for food. People are paying more for gas. People are paying more for rent. Despite all of those things, those increasing burdens, this year's campaign raised nearly $20,000. So a big hand for our committee. That's great. So we've got a slideshow. We had a lot of fun, maybe too much fun, and I think this slideshow will represent that. Get it, Blaine? So if you need a copy, just let thank you, Jessup, for being a great sport. Brent, I thought you were way too gentle on that, Don. But again, a big thank you to our committee members who are here with us today. It's something we're very proud of. In addition to all that, we had a Halloween costume contest and an office decorating contest. We had to edit that slideshow a little bit and take out federal programs. They did a spook house that was a little too spooky. So. Again, again, nearly $20,000 for a great cause, and we're very proud. 40 years we've been doing this. That's amazing, and we're going to keep on doing it. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, team.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Pretty amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we had some great presentations. We'll move now into management items. You guys will see that item 3.01 is a proposed executive session for annual performance review of the state director, Mr. Brent Haken. And with that, I need to turn it over to Randy now. So because that's an item, again, about me and Superintendent Walters is not here as chair, Randy, I'll turn chairmanship over to you.
Okay, we will read, we will move into management action item 3.01, proposed executive session for the annual performance review of the state director. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion to go to executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move into executive session. Do we have any discussion? Do we have any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
And in that executive session, currently, we'd like to ask our attorney to stay with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we will invite Mr. Haken back in shortly.
Okay, sounds good.
Microphone's off. Okay, we are back in open session, so if I may ask for a motion to enter into open session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter into open session. Do we have any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Shaylin Hanning,
Yes.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Motion passes. We are back in open session. We had executive session to review the performance of the state director. Let me just make a comment. There was no motion or nothing passed during the executive session portion. So with that, we had very good discussion as a board, and then very good discussion. Mr. Haken came in the presence of our attorney. We talked about his performance, the positive. It's a 10-month evaluation. We have an evaluation sheet that we're going to keep for ourselves as a board and send to the other board members, and then we will come back in December and propose another executive session for the finalize the evaluation. One of the comments that was made based on the director's evaluation was that in the future we'll look to have an annual review sometime in the fall of each year, potentially in Stillwater. But I think we had a good. I mean, we had good discussion. So, and with that, I'll turn back over to Mr. Haken. And
All right. Thank you, board members. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. If there is no new business, there is no agenda item for new business. I would entertain a motion.
I was going to mention that y'all put these in our little flyers there.
Yeah.
I attended last year. It was a great event. I enjoyed hanging out with everybody and seeing y'all's fun games y'all were playing and everything. Pretty
Yeah.
food, so I'd
The
encourage
team is
the board to attend.
planning it right now. It's a great event. Make sure that you have those invitations.
also very proud of our Ag Ed FFA programs in the state to have the #1 chapter out of 9,200 plus chapters.
And 92, like that, yeah.
So,
Chapters, yeah.
very proud of their accomplishments, and we certainly appreciate them being part of CareerTech.
Very much. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion.
Second.
Ashley, if you will, there's no discussion needed on an adjournment motion. Is there a roll call?
Okay. Mr. Gilbert,
Yes.
Miss Hanning,
Yes.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman,
Yes.
All of those that want to stay can. Sure. I think you've got another meeting to run to.